So we're going to begin by telling a story. So just listen for a moment. In a magical valley, protected by the ancient spirits of towering Catskill Mountains, a sacred fire was lit.
The flame that kindled the sacred fire was originally ignited in 1986, just outside of the United Nations building by Chief Shenandoah of the Iroquois Nation. He rubbed two sticks together to create a spark, then lit a torch for peace in the International Year of Peace.
That morning, in the gleaming sunlight of a beautiful sunrise, the UN building shone in that gleaming, beautiful sunlight. The great hall of Micah was envisioned and spoken of in a Hopi prophecy for the last 1,000 years.
A message was to be delivered to an amazing, shining place at a time of the great turning, in hopes of ushering in a millennium of peace in the world. The Hopi knew the times described in that ancient prophecy had come.
Through extraordinary cooperation, the peace torch traveled from the great hall of Micah around the world through 62 countries in 86 days. During the flame's miraculous journey, it was borne by thousands and thousands of runners and witnessed by millions and millions of people, including many world leaders.
When the torch at last returned to the United Nations, there were incredible stories about the powerful alchemical nature of the fire. Afterward, the flame was brought to the altar of the Holy Santiago de Chimayo in New Mexico, where it has since been kept burning, except for when it traveled to the hallowed land of the Iroquois in 2004.
Surrounded by golden woods and in the cool, still evening air of mid-October 2004, the flame ignited an unprecedented and historic gathering of 13 indigenous grandmothers from around the world. Keepers of their tribes, teachings from original times.
The grandmothers had come to fulfill another ancient prophecy known by many of the world's indigenous tribes. When grandmothers from the four directions speak, a new time is coming.
So today, Rosemary and I will be weaving our words with the bold and visionary words of the feminine spirit, words that offer healing, words that offer wholeness for each of our hearts and for the world.
She's doing really well, guys.
I am.
She's right. She's being a good doobie today. She's right on script. I hope I didn't jinx us, right?
It's good.
Thank you so much, Denise. It's a lovely privilege to once again share this sacred space, the building, and our time together. And I couldn't help but think when our lovely stereo angels were singing, all the love and light that was up on this stage, all of the musicians, the singers, you could feel the energy elevating, couldn't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what magic does. Ooh, here we are again. We're going to conjure up all the spirits of the wise, bold, brave women from every generation. Just think about who that is in your life, in your lineage. We need their strength and their courage now more than ever before. I have been the grateful recipient of teachings from a number of Native American elders, but none more intimate than my connection with Wallace Black Elk and his partner in all things, the strong, bold, and occasionally really snarky Grace Spotted Eagle, his wife. As I was apprenticing at the Aquarian Research Center in West Palm Beach, Florida, Wallace and Grace were frequent presenters over the course of 10 years. They stayed in my home, giving me the chance to truly bond with them. When you cook breakfast for people and you get to visit with them between programs, and then you share stories late into the evening, a particular kind of bonding magic happens. These Lakota Sioux elders took me on as their granddaughter in my 5th year of training with them. Now, this is not just like signing up for a class. You study, you set up sweat lodges, you clean lots of junk. They watch you day and night to see how you maintain your level of equilibrium. So the same rules don't apply. When you are held in this esteemed and noble grasp by an elder, an entirely new set of rules hold you in place. I agreed to follow their lead and to obey whatever was, she's laughing because she knows, obey whatever was asked of me. This goes well beyond the usual ordinary student-teacher relationship. When the student is as ardent and as committed as the teacher, this becomes a commitment beyond the physical realm of here and now. I had come to Nashville to do a radio program and to participate in the Glastonbury Fair, which was a psychic festival of healers and readers. I got so lost, so twisted, trying to leave Nashville on I-440 that I swore I would never come back to this godforsaken place ever again. We see how that panned out, right? You got to be really careful what you swear to. About a month after I got home, I received a call from a woman who had heard me speak, and she said, "I know you have no Native American training, but I have been told repeatedly in my dreams that I need you to come here to set a medicine wheel." After clarifying that I did indeed have plenty of training, I told her the dates were already booked and I could not possibly make the trip. 10 minutes later, the phone rang again. She called back to say that as she was leaving her driveway, she lived on Highway 100, 7:45 in the morning, which is usually jam-packed with people. There were no other cars. There was a misty circle in the middle of the road with 7 black crows just sitting there. And out of the furthest portion of the circle, this woman came walking toward her, shaking her fingers, saying, "You get back in there and get Rosemary to Nashville now." And no excuses, no excuses. This woman was trying to be so polite with me on the phone, and I finally let her off the hook. I said, "Did this woman seem really bitchy?" And she said, "Yes, she was." I said, "Well, that was Grandmother Grace Spotted Eagle. But I still can't make it on those dates. I'm really sorry." We hung up. Just a moment later, the phone rang. And before I could lose my temper, which is a big one, the voice on the other end of the line was another granddaughter calling to tell me, "Rosemary, Grandmother Grace died this morning." At 3:30 a.m. in Colorado. And she has been making appearances all over the world to her best students. If you get a message from grandmother, you must do what she asks you to do. So I made friends with 440 when I moved back to Nashville. And yes, I came to set the medicine wheel.
So speaking of medicine wheel, give her an applause for that. That was amazing.
Ooh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's a true story.
Mm-hmm. That's what we're doing this morning, is telling true stories of our lives and how we have been asked by Holy Spirit to be bold in times when we weren't sure that we even knew what we were doing, that we were guided. So speaking of medicine wheels, the church that Judy Blackwelder and I run for many, many years we did an event every year called Nashville Chooses Peace. And in that event, we created a big human peace symbol on our grounds. And every year we'd have 350, 400 people standing in it and a drone flying over and taking pictures. And one of those years, it showed up on Channel 4 News, and it was rather exciting. Well, every year we would plan and go, what do we want to do next? We decided we wanted some Native Americans there. And so one of our congregants knew Chief Arvil Looking Glass in South Dakota and said, you and me and this other lady that was part of the Healing Arts need to go visit him. And say what? Because I was like, would you come to our peace circle, please? So we actually did that in February in South Dakota. Now, I had no idea what I was stepping into. There were feet and feet and feet of snow, okay? Driving through what seemed like a blizzard, us three women in a car, trying to make it to Chief Arvil's reservation. We finally get there. I was like, shoo, Lord mercy. Basically, what we did was go ask him if he would be willing to come to Nashville, Tennessee, to help us set up a medicine wheel and to do a peace circle with hundreds of people in it from many different walks of life, all colors, all races, all different religions, all everything. And we offered him some tobacco. If you've ever known how to work with Native Americans, that's what you do. And he said, yes, my dear, I would love to come. But I need to teach you about something also. And him and his wife taught me how to set a medicine wheel. Because they have a special thing that they do every year on June the 21st, which was just a few days ago. It is called the World Peace and Prayer Day, and they invite all peoples to pray for peace that day together. And so when they taught me how to do this, and they taught me in the middle of our Nashville Chooses Peace Day, Chief Arvil, his wife Paula, and they also brought Grandmother Aggie, one of the 13 indigenous grandmothers, to our event. And as he taught me how to set the medicine wheel, he said, now, and did that to me, now, my dear, it is yours to do. Every year on June 21st. And I said, well, what if I'm not here with this group of people? He said, do it by yourself. It is yours to do every year on June 21st. We have to get the message out. Because, he said, we believe that some among us have forgotten their spirit. Among with the spirit of Mother Earth and all of her creatures. The four-leggeds, the two-leggeds. There are disconnected souls that are beginning to hurt each other. And so I asked his wife, Paula, when I could be with her by myself, I said, so how did he become this amazing chief? Because he is the 10th keeper of the sacred white buffalo calf pipe and bundle. So this is not just your average little person. This is somebody that was like, whoo. And the minute he walked onto our property, he just fell down to the ground and went, this is sacred here. This is sacred grounds here. You need to know that. And so I asked his wife about how he stayed in that place of peace, because you may have seen him on television when they were trying to run the Dakota pipeline through, and him and his people, stopped that. And he is always working in ways that help Mother Earth. And I said, how does he stay so peaceful? And she said, we visualize the creative power and we pray healing. 7 generations back for all of those who have been before. 7 generations forward for all those who have yet to be born. And I want you to close your eyes for a minute, because here's the prayer that they asked me to pray. Creator of all, we see, we hear, we taste, we smell, and we touch. And we remember in this moment, Mother Earth is the source of life. We remember in this moment, we are one with all peoples, all animals, all plants, all rocks, all we see, and all things we can't see. Let peace become our way, so that peace may prevail on earth. And so just breathe into that. And when you open your eyes, think about how the world could shift if that was our prayer. And I know that may sound a little lofty, peace around the globe, when what we see on the news or hear through social media sometimes may be anything other than peace. So how do we step into that peace? I believe Rosemary has a story to share.
Yes, I do. And I wanted to also remind everybody, if you didn't see it, this June 4th, a new white buffalo calf was born.
Yes.
Whenever that happens, just Google it. It means that there is hope, and that hope is coming from the ancestors. So it's a wonderful day. I brought something. This is a prayer pouch that was a gift to me from another bold, wise woman. You may not know that there is a labyrinth at the back of this property. I was the one who set that labyrinth with my friend Patty Silver, who was a fabulous Native American healer, and Jimmy Scott was the minister then, and he said we could do anything but invade his office. We tried. So, yes, thank you, Denise.
Oh, you're welcome.
Peace for all of us, I think, is a must, and we all know it starts in here. I do have a story that I think is worth talking about. You know, in these traditions, shamanic traditions, so much work happens in just visiting, in just sitting and talking. And one day, a grandmother was sitting with her granddaughter, just talking about how she felt about life and how she felt about things in her world. And she said to the granddaughter, I feel as if I have 2 wolves fighting in my heart. One wolf is the vengeful, angry, frightened, violent wolf. The other wolf is the loving, kind, compassionate one. The granddaughter asked, Grandmother, which wolf will win the fight in your heart? And the grandmother responded, the one I feed.
Just breathe into that for a minute. The one we feed. And so I want to share a small little story about my experience with Grandmother Aggie. She is no longer in the human body, but she was one of the original 13 indigenous grandmothers from all over the globe. And she came with Chief Arvil and Paula because they knew that our church facility was really close, a block and a half away from Old Hickory Lake. And she was all about the waters. And she wanted to take us down to the waters and do a special blessing for the waters. Of course, she had all kinds of things that she talked about, and she wasn't really thrilled with TVA or all those kinds of things. She was like, the waters need to flow. The waters need to flow. That's what they were there for, is to flow. And so I had many conversations with her, and she was an amazing light. But like you were talking about, she was very brutal at times in what she would say. And I asked her one day, I said, Grandmother Aggie, how do you continue to do this work? She was up in her upper 80s and had flown with her daughter, Nadine, to our congregation, and had been there all weekend and spoke during the festival and spoke on Sunday morning and then did a workshop, and we went and blessed the waters. I mean, she was busy all weekend. And she said, you have to stay in the flow, Denise. You have to keep being connected to your I am presence. You have to know what you're here on the earth to do, and you have to get rid of all those beliefs that are running the ship inside of you. And I was like, what are you talking about? And again, here's somebody tapped me right here. She walked over to me and said, that belief that you're not good enough, you need to work on that. And I went, excuse me, how do you know that? She said, I know. I know. That's yours. That's yours to work on, Denise, because when you finally get the fact that you're a divine being of this universe and that you are here for a certain reason and this is it, then you realize you're good enough.
Thank you. At least she didn't slap you.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
She did tap me really hard. I had a bruise right there after
That has happened to me, and you can't react. Anyway. I think that is something that many great teachers have in common. And perhaps it's wrapped up in the notion that we might not know enough or do enough quickly enough for enough people. I'd like to share something now that I've shared before. It's not Native American. It is a Sufi exercise. And it's something that always brings me right back to center. I have a very critical, busy brain, and this teaching has saved my life. But we all need things that we can call up in an instant, and this is one that I use. So just feel it, hear it with your heart. Just like me. Just like me, this person is seeking some happiness for themselves. Just like me, this person is trying to avoid suffering in their life. Just like me, this person has known sadness, loneliness, and despair. Just like me, this person is seeking to fulfill their needs. Just like me, this person is learning about life. Isn't that all we're all trying to do? Figure out the journey, figure out who we are, where we fit. This, even if you only remember just like me, you can be standing in line at the grocery store and looking at somebody who may not be a size 6 and they've got cookies and donuts and ice cream and candy. Where will your mind go? You got to go right, just like me. Just like me, this person is learning about life, and it will soften everything.
And so I just want to end again with the prayer that we had earlier. And so I just want you to close your eyes and remember that I usually ask you first to do a reset breath, which means just blow out anything that might be sitting in your mind, in your body, in any recesses, just let it go. And if there's anything else you need to let go of, do that also. Take another breath out. And then you're going to put your left hand over your heart and your right hand where your thumb is close to your belly button. What you're doing is connecting to the energy that is flowing from the universe down through the top of your head, all the way through and out the ends of your toes. And just allow yourself and your breath to balance for a moment within your body. Many times we hold our breath when we're worried about something or trying to figure out something. There's nothing to do and there's nothing to figure out. There's only to be in this moment. And so in this moment, Creator of all we see, of all we hear, taste, smell, and touch, may we remember this moment. May we remember this light flowing through us now. May we remember Mother Earth is the source of life. May we remember that we are one with all peoples, all animals, all plants, all rocks, all we see, and all we can't yet see. Let peace become our way, so that peace may prevail on earth. And so it is.
And so it is.
Namaste.
Fabulous. You did good. Welcome to the Sunday service at CSLN. We are a welcoming and inclusive community of inspired individuals caring for and about each other and the entire planetary family. The Center for Spiritual Living Nashville offers spiritual tools for anyone seeking a more fulfilled and meaningful life through a deeper connection with a higher power or universal truths. Be sure to subscribe below if you enjoy our programs.